All right. Good morning, everyone. Happy Friday. First Alert Meteorologist Eric Burke, and we have a lot to cover here on this Weather Extra. So appreciate you joining us as always. A lot to kind of sift through regarding the weekend forecast. I know just based on some of the comments that I've seen on my social media posts, still a little bit of confusion exactly what is going to unfold here. And I think we have a pretty good grasp on how this weekend is going to go. But we're going to go through it together and kind of see if I can answer some of your questions. I know one of the biggest questions I've been getting almost nonstop this morning is, what are the roads going to be like at this time in this location? I don't have specifics on that just yet. Not a miracle worker. I would just continue to, keep in mind that roads can be hazardous at times through the weekend. I will say just straight up front, I think by Sunday night into Monday morning, if we do have widespread road issues, that's likely when it's going to happen. As we go into that kind of Monday morning drive to work or taking the kids to school, I'm guessing a few school districts might be kind of delaying start or even postponing. Of course, we'll have that full list on our website, WAFF.com. But I can't answer the specifics on what are the roads like because this event hasn't started unfolding yet. I can tell you meteorologist Jeff Denoyer, he's going to be in tomorrow morning. He'll have the current radar and just kind of show you everything that's going on. So let's get right to it. We got a good group of you here on a Friday. Must be something happening regarding the weather this weekend. But so National Weather Service in Huntsville put out these winter weather products. Earlier in the week, we were under a winter storm watch. Well, now northwest Alabama, Franklin, Colbert, Lauderdale County, into parts of Middle Tennessee and areas to our west into North Mississippi under an ice storm warning. And this is for ice accumulations expected in those areas. And it's going to be a very sharp cutoff of who sees ice, who sees the freezing rain that leads to the ice, and who's going to see sleet, and who's just going to see cold rain through this event. And I think a lot of people are so focused on, what kind of snow are we talking about, how much sleet. A lot of you are just going to see a very cold rain event unfolding, but the travel conditions could be poor getting into that Sunday night, overnight, Monday morning time frame. The rest of the area in this purple, Brad referred to it as periwinkle color. I'll go with that too. You've got a winter weather advisory. Now that is an upgrade from the winter storm watch because now this is putting out a product talking about their criteria. We're expecting some type of mixed precipitation, at least through the early part of the day on Saturday before we see that final transition over to just kind of a colder rain event. But these products will kick in at midnight tonight and go all the way through Sunday afternoon and evening too. So all of us are under some form of a winter weather product put out by the National Weather Service in Huntsville. That shows you that we're looking at potential impacts. To break it down as simple as possible, just kind of some of the things we're talking about here. We've got a winter storm approaching the Tennessee Valley starting early tomorrow morning, and it will start to wrap up Sunday evening. We will see bouts of heavy rainfall, 1 to maybe 3 or more inches of rain possible, especially through the day on Sunday. We could see some sleet, some freezing rain, and that would lead to icy conditions, and travel may be impacted. High confidence in a blast of very cold air coming in Sunday night, overnight into Monday. Now, temperatures aren't going to fall as fast as we initially thought, and that's good news regarding that flash freeze potential. However, we are still anticipating some travel concerns all across the Tennessee Valley into Monday morning. Might be in the form of just some patchy black ice, maybe just some elevated roads. Things we're continuing to watch. We will have a much better idea as this is an evolving forecast. Little temperature details, whether we're up a degree or down a degree from what the models are showing right now, will have a big impact on what type of precipitation we see and at what time. It's not just at the surface, too. If you go up in the levels of the atmosphere, if we've got warmer air aloft, then you're going to see that sleet. The snowflake will fall from the sky. It will go through that warm layer. It will start to melt and then potentially refreeze as it gets closer to the surface. So there are a lot of variables in play here. This is not a cut and dry winter weather forecast. We never get really that lucky when we're forecasting winter weather here in the Tennessee Valley. But this event, from start to finish, has thrown a lot at us. There's been a lot of changes with the model data, things tracking north. Now we've got some warm air potentially coming in. So just going through it. So northwest Alabama, you will be the first to see the winter precipitation moving in tomorrow morning. This is for you in the Shoals, Lauderdale, Colbert, Franklin counties, potentially creeping into parts of Lawrence, maybe Limestone County too. Again, the cutoff here is going to be so sharp. But we see early sleet, and I think a good dose of the early precipitation is going to be that sleet. Now, that's a plus because sleet is not going to build up on the power lines or on those tree limbs leading to power outages, but they do start to see accumulations, not just on those grassy areas, but potentially on roadways as well. We'll be keeping a close eye on our surface temperatures, the road temperature map. We'll share that a lot tomorrow morning, talking about where the roads are at or below freezing. So we see this early round, maybe some light accumulation of that sleet, potentially some snow mixing in, but I think with the warmer air aloft, this will mainly be sleet for us in the morning. Most of you then start to turn into a cold rain event, and this would go for the metro areas, north central Alabama, even into northeast Alabama, definitely the farther south you go. But if you're in northwest Alabama, you're still kind of looking at those temperatures in the 20s and 30s, and that's where we can see that freezing rain and the ice starting to build up. Now, as temperatures warm Saturday afternoon, continuing to warm into Saturday evening, overnight, Sunday morning, then I think we see all cold rain coming in. As you go through the day on Sunday, this is when we're forecasting the heaviest rainfall, and this will likely just be cold rain kind of unfolding as we go through Sunday. So heavy rain, rainfall rates can be high at times, potentially looking at 1 to 3 inches of rainfall. And that is a significant rain event, obviously. Still potential for maybe freezing rain over northwest Alabama, where the ice storm warning is, into Sunday morning. And then more questions now we're asking about northeast Alabama up towards Sand Mountain, potentially looking at some of that colder air settling in, what we call cold air damming or the wedge. Sometimes we talk about that wedge front. A little less confidence in this over Sand Mountain, but something we'll continue to watch here. It really depends on where you live, but there is freezing rain potential on Sunday morning, especially for parts of northwest Alabama, and a little more questions regarding northeast Alabama. But the main impact and takeaway from this: travel may be difficult. Saturday morning, if we are seeing that freezing rain or even the sleet starting to accumulate, driving in that sleet, is it's kind of like that slushy stuff. And if temperatures are in the 20s and 30s, that's what we'll be dealing with. And then Sunday night into Monday, the precipitation will wrap up. We might see some snow flurries on the backside, a little bit of more sleet as temperatures fall. But really, this is when we're going to talk about the worst impacts on the roads coming Sunday night into Monday morning as those temperatures start to fall, because we go from temps potentially in the mid-40s there Sunday, which is why we're really forecasting kind of a cold rain event on Sunday. And then we see those temperatures falling into the teens by the time we wake up on Monday morning, when you have to go back to work after the weekend, of course. And that's when I really think we're going to see the most issues probably on the roads. Couple things working in our favor. The Arctic air that's rushing in, dropping our temperatures, is very dry. That will help aid in the drying process. You get that evaporation, and we'll have some pretty breezy winds from the northwest. So that could also aid in the drying of the roads. But really, biggest impacts probably over northwest Alabama regarding the roads Saturday early morning, and then Sunday night into Monday. That's kind of my window right now of when we're watching this for biggest potential travel impacts. There's your weekend forecast, and look at these temperatures. Actually had to raise the temperatures over the weekend. We're hitting a high of 38 Saturday. That probably won't come until about 5, 6 o'clock Saturday night. Temperatures will actually continue to warm as we go through the overnight Saturday into Sunday. You've got Sunday low 32-ish for some areas, but most of you probably around 35, 36. Then we really get that heavy rain coming in, and you're going to see that as we go through this hour by hour. Now, where we have the ice storm warning, this is the area that we're most likely to see that freezing rain. Now, just to remind everyone, freezing rain is just standard rain that falls from the sky, and then it hits something that is at or below freezing. It could be a road, a sidewalk, it could be a tree limb, it could be a power line, and that's where you start to see that ice building up. In this model, this is the reason for the ice storm warning, more or less, by the Weather Service, because you could see anywhere from a quarter to maybe half an inch of ice, what we call ice accretion, building up on those power lines. And that ice is very heavy. Anything over about a quarter of an inch, you're definitely going to see impacts, potential power outages. But if you get in that half inch of ice buildup, that's when we really start to see some issues developing. So most concerned with that freezing rain ice event over northwest Alabama. That's why you're under the ice storm warning. And the farther west you go into Mississippi, North Mississippi, this could be really bad for them, for sure. So I don't think too many of you are going to have travel plans heading west. If you do, not great is basically the politest way of phrasing things, but that could be significant for them. Now, where we have a little more of this uncertainty, because it's depending on that wedge or that cold air damming coming in, is Saturday morning into Sunday morning. Notice how the potential ice accretion totals or the ice buildup totals are a lot lower, and this is just because you're higher elevation. If we get that warm air coming in, might have some colder air at the surface, but that's drastically going to affect kind of our temperature profile, if you will. But the ice totals over northeast Alabama, this is where we're a little more uncertain about it, but it's our job to mention that. So here's the event, hour by hour. Pay close attention to our temperatures here. Saturday, 3 a.m., everyone is below freezing. Mid-20s to low 30s, and this is why we're probably going to see a good bit of that mixed precipitation at the onset of kind of this winter storm. 7 o'clock tomorrow, we still have temperatures below freezing just about everywhere. So if we see some of that freezing rain coming in, this is where you're going to start to see the ice building up, especially over northwest Alabama into middle Tennessee. But the later we go into the morning hours here, by mid-morning, about 9:30 or so, if I could get my clicker to cooperate here, should know that this is a big event, and a lot of you are focusing on this, as we are, of course. This is when we potentially see some of the lighter sleet accumulation, where you see the pink. Now, it could be that sleet, which is that slushy kind of ice, and then freezing rain is the liquid rain that freezes when it hits the surface. But the later we go into the morning here, notice some of you south of the Tennessee River, you might not even be dealing with just cold rain. We've got 40 in Coleman looking at noon tomorrow. Meanwhile, Middle Tennessee, things still a mess with sleet and potential freezing rain, ice buildup. Now we're seeing 30 in Russellville, so still below freezing there in the western areas. And then you've got Scottsboro there at 36, 40 Albertville, 36 in Fort Payne. And this is why this forecast, sticking with the Fort Payne, is such a pain, because we've got such a drastic temperature difference. And these are just surface temperatures. You have to think of the whole column of air that this precipitation is falling through. So maybe some light accumulations, through the morning into about lunchtime there on Saturday around the noon hour. Then we see temperatures in the mid-30s to low 40s in the metro areas, north central Alabama into northeast Alabama, even trying to creep up into parts of Middle Tennessee there, Lincoln County, where we're still potentially dealing with freezing rain and sleet in parts of northwest Alabama. Now, I mentioned those temperatures warming as we go through Saturday evening. Now almost everyone is above freezing. We've got temps in the mid-30s, and the warming continues through the late evening, even potentially overnight hours. But we do see some of the pink now Saturday night over portions of northeast Alabama, Sand Mountain, and that could be that kind of that wedge or that cold air damming effect happening with that east wind, knocking temperatures in Fort Payne down to freezing, and that's where you could see that window of freezing rain potentially leading to a light glaze of ice. 3 o'clock Sunday morning now, here comes the heavy rain, but everyone, with the exception being Sand Mountain, above freezing. We've got temps in the 30s and 40s here, so here comes the cold rain, and this is going to be very heavy cold rain. Even the model here hinting at temperatures in the 50s for Moulton, Russellville, Phil Campbell. This is going to be a lousy day. If you're heading out for church on Sunday morning, this is what you're dealing with, kind of widespread heavy, cold rain. The winds will be gusty too, but our temperatures stay in the 40s and 50s potentially through the entire day on Sunday. And this is the day we're really forecasting just a heavy cold rain event, 1 to 3 inches of heavy rain. But the cold air starts to move in. At least the precip ends about 4 o'clock there on Sunday afternoon, and this is where the temperatures start to go in the wrong direction. But looking at your rainfall forecast, here's the 1 to 3 inches of rain. That is a ton of moisture coming down. You're going to get runoff, and then as the temperatures fall, like you see here, here's 4 o'clock again, all the precip is moving off to the east, and then our temperatures start to crash. Now, they're not going to fall as fast as we thought they would, but all of us are still waking up with an air temperature and probably surface temperature in the teens. And this is why I am most concerned about the roads, and with the exception being Northwest Alabama tomorrow morning. It's going to be Sunday night into Monday morning. This is when things will be most concerning from a travel perspective. If we have slick spots, icy roads across the area, and it's going to be all across the area, North Alabama, Middle Tennessee. It's not just isolated to certain areas. For those of you, asking specific locations, what is my drive going to look like on Monday morning? And we don't know yet. With the dry air coming in, that will help kind of dry out some of the roads, but it's not a guarantee. With temperatures this far below freezing, we might get that flash freeze effect, and that's where everything just kind of glazes over. Hopefully the breezy winds help out the dry air, aiding in the drying of the roads, but it's not a guarantee. I think with the sunshine and the breezy winds we've got through the day on Monday, I'd say by late morning into the afternoon, we at least start to see some general improvement as far as travel conditions. So I know this is a lot to throw at you, but trying to go through it as slow and, as easy as possible. Here are our temperatures right now. Look at you guys in Northeast Alabama, 48 from Scottsboro to Fort Payne. We've got temps in the upper 30s to low 40s everywhere else. We've got the clouds continuing to build in. It's pretty breezy today, too. Got that northeasterly wind sustained about 10 to 15 miles per hour, gusting 20 to 25. So kind of a cooler, cloudy, breezy day. Maybe some peaks of sun here over the next hour or so. For tonight, 28 is your low for the metro areas. You'll be colder in Middle Tennessee and Northwest Alabama. It looks like we'll see that rain, sleet, potential for snow showers with the light accumulations developing probably as early as 5 a.m. over extreme Northwest Alabama, then kind of progressing west to east as we go through the rest of the morning. Here's a look, light rain, freezing rain possible there, kind of mid to late morning, even a light glaze of ice. There is no good amount of ice here. And then finally, when temperatures are back above freezing for the afternoon Saturday, and that's when we kind of get into that colder rain too. So it's kind of a good breakdown of your Saturday, at least for those areas that aren't in Northwest Alabama. And then we go to your extended forecast here. And we've got first alert weather day. Today is more of a heads up day. Saturday morning, we start to see the impacts, especially over Northwest Alabama, as temperatures warm above freezing Saturday late morning into the afternoon. And then we've got that cold rain event unfolding and very high confidence and a lot of cold rain coming through the day Sunday. By Sunday night, that's when the temperatures start to fall again, potentially looking at that mix. And then we wake up at 14 degrees Monday morning, and that's where we have probably the most widespread travel concerns. And then most of next week even. And we stay pretty cold for this time of year. I know it's January, but that's cold for us here. Temperatures will be in the upper 30s to low 40s. I know someone was asking to go through again. I've got to end the stream because Tennessee Valley Living is starting, and then meteorologist Jeff DeNoyer will be on our newscast at noon. Now, you could always go back when this video ends and go through things when I go through the hour by hour again. It's not just this is live and that's it. You can go back. This video will stay on my page as well as the WAFF page. You can catch it wherever you stream to. I can assure you, Chief Meteorologist Brad Travis will have a lot more information for you coming tonight. Newscast at 4, 5, 6, and 10. Meteorologist Jeff DeNoyer working tomorrow morning. I believe I'm in tomorrow morning too. And we'll kind of have extended streaming coverage of this winter weather event. We will have better idea of how the roads are as this event kind of starts to unfold, when we have a better look at temperatures, what we're seeing using our cameras, using reports from emergency management. I know crews are working very hard to get those roads kind of up to speed and preparing them as best as they can for this winter weather event. But travel concerns will be for parts of the area tomorrow morning. And then I think the widespread travel concerns come Sunday night, overnight into Monday, including that morning commute. So everyone, thank you so much for joining us. I know this is a very complex forecast. It's not cut and dry. Unfortunately, snow not looking likely. I think we'll see sleet for sure. We're going to see some ice in areas, especially over northwest Alabama, maybe northeast Alabama Saturday night into Sunday if we get the wedge effect. But there's a lot of moving pieces. And many of you just see a ton of cold rain, but potentially the black ice developing come Sunday night into Monday morning. Thank you for your time on this Friday. Again, TVL starts at 11. Meteorologist Jeff Denoyer on your newscast at noon with Gina Benitez. Stay safe, stay warm. Please, if you're driving this weekend, travel with caution. Be smart, use good common sense, and good judgment. All right, that's it for me. Have a good one.